We had a fabulous time in Mexico. I came home 2 weeks later only to get laid off from my job. And that's when painting came in. And there's our little dog, our little Pomeranian. Her name is Bella. I love, not only do I like painting, but I love photography. So I like to go out in the community and take pictures of different seasons in our city. One of the paintings I like the types of paintings I like to do is acrylics on canvas, but I'm drawn to forests and trees. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I also like to do like feminine type of paintings of women and silhouettes and brides and girly things like that. Really enjoy doing that. I also like to do little fun things, little happy pictures, goofy pictures, you know, things that make for children, I guess, or for the nursery. And then out of all my paintings, I think the one that I enjoy doing the most is sailboats. And I like to use the palette knife. So I've done about 150 paintings in the last 11 months. I was doing one a day for a while, so now I'm maybe doing 3 or 4 a week. My intention was not to sell my paintings, but people offered to buy them. I said, okay, be happy. So that's what I do. Love this hobby. You can also find me at the farmer's market in Sudbury in the summer, at True North Maiden New Sudbury Center. And I'm also going to be at the Millet Goring in April. That was mentioned last week at the last week's presentations. And remember I mentioned I love to bake as well. So I love to make cupcakes.
Wow.
So if you ever want cupcakes for baby showers, birthdays, anniversaries, I was so busy at Valentine. This is the other thing I love to do. So you can find all my information on Facebook on either Art by Bridget, or you can find me at Driving Mrs. Labby. That's my cupcake, because I'm always in my car doing a delivery. Or you could add me as a friend. Thank you so much.
Well, you got lots of accolades in the chat box, so make sure you watch that.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll ask you to take that down in a second. Has everybody had and like we can put that in the chat as well. So maybe type that in the chat after.
Okay. Okay.
They're really nice, Bridget. Wow.
Thank you.
I'd almost buy one.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, and so I am going to run Jasmine's PowerPoint, but she is going to tell you what it's all about.
Yeah. Whoops.
So just 1 second. Okay, so everybody can see that now, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just a second, I'm going to put it on slideshow if it'll behave for me. Well, or maybe not.
I think it's on the left, the top left, from beginning.
Oh yes, thank you. I'll be
Welcome.
all right. There we go. It's all yours.
Okay, yeah. So my thing, I kind of have some of my art back there. Is Jasmine's pet portraits, and yeah, I do portraits of pets. So you can go to the next slide now.
Okay.
So I've lived in Sudbury for most of my life, and I've always been interested in art since I was really young. Like even before I could talk, my parents have like stories of me drawing on the walls and all that stuff. And they still have some of my art like on their walls, and they've always been really encouraging, and I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, we always had animals when I was growing up. So we had 2 ferrets, 4 dogs, and 3 rabbits and a bunch of fish and frogs and all that stuff. And I've lived in the woods, so I've been around animals for like my whole life. So yeah,
Cool.
I jumped around trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I've been to Laurentian for archaeology, which is like another passion of mine that I'm very interested in. So I want to in the future like incorporate some of that into my art somehow. But yeah, so I also I took like graphic design at Cambrian I tried, and I just like jumped around to a lot of different courses trying to figure out before I landed on like becoming a entrepreneur. So yeah, and I'm incorporating like all my interests. Yeah, okay, you
That's
can go to the
cool.
next slide. Thank you. So my business started about a year ago with encouragement from my parents, and it's mostly been me running it, like based on just stuff that I've learned myself. So I do pet portraits in graphite, which is like pencil, and I want to learn watercolor, digital art. I want to like I know how to make stickers and pins, but actually order them and eventually do landscapes and humans. So yeah, I'm slowly learning all that stuff. And
What you charge for pet?
well, I usually go like individually. I also want to learn how to like price. Yeah, I'm very beginner when it comes to business. So right now I have like I don't really know how to price it. So I go like by $80, and then people can like tip me whatever they want, but I'm still figuring that out. So I go like on an individual basis right now.
'Cause
Yeah.
I priced up an art one
Oh,
time, and
yeah.
it was more than that. It was even $100. It was
Wow.
so $80 was a good deal.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out a price point. That's one of the things I'm having trouble with. So yeah, and so there's some of my examples of art. That's a family friend who was I don't know, maybe like the 5th person I did it for, but everyone has been very encouraging, and she was so surprised when I gave it to her. She said a swear word very excitedly, which I won't say. She was like, "Oh, those are my something cats," and she was very excited about it, and I was very happy. And yeah, I have some of my other art back there. I could bring it closer like after, but I guess you can go to the next slide. I have a few examples. Yeah, those are some of my earlier ones, like from 2016. So I think I've improved since then. It's in my mom's friend's house of her dogs. And yeah, you can go to the next one. It's just close-ups. That's the top one. His name is Kobe. He's a little Yorkshire Terrier. Yeah, that's a very old one. And then you can go to the next. That's Portia. She's a toy poodle. And yeah, I did an updated version of this dog in the next picture. So yeah, that's more recent. That's like 2 years ago. So I think I've improved since then as well. And what is my next slide? Yes, I'll show some of my art, like just a close-up of it. Okay. Yeah, these are like some examples of them close up. This is my dog Ash, and this is her sister Willow.
I can't see because I'm still seeing the shared
Yeah,
screen.
it's like a glare.
Do you
Oh,
want
right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't you wait and we'll show those at the end, Jasmine?
Okay, that works. And so yeah, my goals are basically I want to learn more about social media, like how to set up an online shop and how to run an online business and all that, and how to like basically how to ship things and packaging and pricing and get some advice on how to do all that. And like one of the biggest things is to get a schedule that keeps me focused, because yeah, I need a structure. Yeah. So my social media is Instagram. It's Jasmine's Pet Sketching, and there's a preview of it on the next slide. And I want to make a Twitter because I hear that is very good for artists. And those are a few more of my works. You can go to my Instagram, and then there's a bunch. That's my website. I guess I can type it into the chat. Yeah, you could click on it or you could not. And then that's it. Yeah, thank you. That's about all I do.
Cool. That's very
Cool.
good. So I'm going to stop sharing and you can do a close up of your pieces that you were trying to show us.
Okay. I don't know if there will be a glare. So this is Ash.
No, that's good.
Yeah, dog. She's a border collie. Yeah, so that's an example of one of my pictures, like in the frame. And I do a bunch of different sizes as well. It just depends on what the customer wants. And then I'm very like flexible and all that. And this is her sister. And so yeah, those are examples of what I do.
Very
And
cool.
that's about it. Yes.
That's great. Well, I think tonight's going to be a perfect night for you because I think a lot of what you're wanting to learn is what Annette's going to teach us.
Oh, perfect. Good. It's very convenient.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I definitely want to know that.
Okay, and so thank you both. I think that's been great. It's been really good to see your work and understand more about what you're doing and what you're interested in. And I'm going to go to Nick and make her a co-host, and then we'll let her take it away.
Perfect. Okay, let me try and share my screen here. Awesome. Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today, talking to you all about these marketing tools. So we're going to cover a lot. There's a lot of tools out there. So I'm going to bring some stuff to your attention. We might not have a ton of time to dive super in depth into like all of the tools, right? But there's a couple of things that I can possibly show you the back end of as well and things like that if we are curious and I have access to them. But anyways, a little bit about me. So just so you know, you can feel free to ask questions throughout. Like I'm happy to make this more conversational if you guys need, if that's better for you. But yeah, so don't be afraid to kind of hop in and ask questions where you need to. But I am Annette Welsh of Annette Welsh Social, and I am born and raised in Sudbury. This is a really fun presentation for me to do because I don't often present to artists, but my background is completely in the arts sector. So I have 3 years of social media and marketing experience. I'm a social media coach, I'm a social media manager, and I'm a confidence coach. So I got a lot on my plate, but it's a lot of fun. My background is actually, I did my undergrad in arts administration and theater. So theater is my discipline that I come from. When I graduated school, I came back to Sudbury. I worked at the Jazz Sudbury Festival for a while doing their marketing. I've worked with the Sudbury Theater Center. I did a little stint at Science North. So I'm very familiar with the community. I've been involved for quite a few years. And I just kind of decided to launch my business last January 2020. So right before all this craziness hit in March, who knew that was going to happen? But yeah, and since then I've worked with tons and tons of people on both the management side and the coaching side. I've worked with like furniture stores and brick and mortar places. I've worked with like restaurants, but also health coaches, web designers, podcast producers. So tons of different types of people. So please, please, please ask your questions when you need to. I'm here for you to pick my brain, basically. Today we're talking about marketing tools. So the main focus really is going to be tools we use in a successful marketing campaign. Also, we're going to be talking about design tools. We're going to talk about social media platforms and tools that you can use to make your content creation easier. We're going to talk email marketing platforms. We're going to talk web building tools and platforms. And then also I'm going to do a little section on creating content and like kind of figuring out your content creation process. So I know, Jasmine, you mentioned scheduling. So we can kind of figure out what process works for you. So hopefully we have time to cover it all, but I also have access to the back end of like, I'm going to take us into the design software backend for sure and take a quick look at that on my screen. And I have access to Squarespace and MailChimp. So we'll take a look at those as we get to those sections as well, if you guys want. Okay, cool. Let's do it. If I can. There we go. All right. So starting at the basics, I know you guys have covered like goals and target market and all of that stuff, but I'm just here to mention it because it is the starting point. When you're trying to figure out which marketing tools you're going to be using, go back to your target market analysis, go back to your goals, because your goals are going to help you figure out like, okay, which social media platforms do I need to be on? Which web design platforms do I need to be on? That's going to really help you in the process. So take a minute to revisit that. And also your discipline too, right? Because there are certain platforms that lend better to certain disciplines. So we'll talk about that as far as social media goes. So depending on your discipline, whether you're, doing painting, visual arts, photography, video, audio-based stuff, writing, like whatever it is, we'll talk about the platforms that are best for you in those circumstances, but always go back to that strategy first. Like that is the first step when you're trying to put it all into place and implement it, right? So one thing I really just want to tack on to the strategy process is having your platform mission statements, because there are a lot of platforms out there. And let's say you're like on Instagram and Facebook and, I don't know, TikTok, whatever you want to do. You need to figure out why you're on those platforms. So having a little mission statement for everything you do, like each of those platforms, can be really helpful. So knowing that you're on Instagram to like engage audience and show off your art, possibly, right? Because that's a more visual platform. Whereas you're on TikTok more to like entertain, who knows? There's just so many ways you can do this, right? So please don't be afraid to ask your questions. But another way to do this is repurposing, which we'll talk about, but it's like you can post videos to multiple platforms, right? You can post content to multiple platforms. So don't be afraid of doing that kind of thing either. There's a lot of platforms out there and a lot of options for you to figure out what works best for your business and your discipline, right? Okay. So which tool should we be using? I thought we would go over quickly this like customer journey, because it really establishes like what role does marketing play in that customer journey. So number one is awareness. And that happens on social media. That happens through your branding and your design that you're using. That happens through your email marketing, right? It's people start to discover you and get to know you. And this is where you start building the like, know, and trust factor on social media platforms. So for people to eventually make it all the way to that purchase stage, it's important to build like, know, and trust. And we do that through our social media platforms. We do that through our design and our branding. And also email plays a role there as well. The next phase, once they're aware of you, is that consideration process where they're trying to figure out, okay, am I going to make this purchase? And that comes into play in lead generation, which is when you're kind of attracting the people who are considering buying. Those are your leads, right? So figuring out who they are and how to funnel them through. I know there's a lot of marketing terms, but I'll try, like, if you have any questions, let me know. But funneling people through, the goal is kind of to create this like journey, right? So you're starting at social media. You want to funnel them through to either a platform where you have them on your email list or your website, right? The goal is to funnel them from a platform that you don't have complete authority over to a platform where you do. Like, you're in complete control of your website, you're in complete control of your email list. So whatever information you send to them, is going to get to them, right? Once they're on those things. That's not necessarily the case with social media. That's why it's the awareness stage. So the goal is to use our tools that we can eventually figure out who our leads are, who is really interested in us, who is really engaged with us, by getting them on our email list or on our website, right? Because then you have names, you have contact information, and that's always really useful to have. And then finally, for the purchase phase, your website, right? Because as we know, we're living in a really digital world, especially with everything that's going on right now. And so your website can really help to serve for that, because we're really going to be focusing on digital marketing tools today. I mean, there are obviously other ways to make purchases if you're running brick and mortar and doing that kind of thing, but having purchases available through your website can be really useful, right? So we'll talk about the website platforms today as well, just briefly. I will preface this, I am not an expert on website creation. I do social media primarily, but I do know about the platforms a little bit. So we'll talk about what your options are. All right, now that we know the customer service journey, let's talk social media tools and just kind of dive right into this. So I'm going to basically go through these 5 platforms, and I'll mention Twitter as well, Jasmine, because I know you mentioned Twitter at the top. I didn't include it, but we can talk briefly about it. So I want to cover Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. And the reason for that is because they're pretty much the top used platforms at the moment. So you can see Facebook is still the top used platform. And we'll talk about the pros and cons of that. Then there's YouTube, and then there's a couple other ones, but Instagram for business is really great. TikTok is here to stay and blowing up. So we're going to talk about that. And Pinterest is just a very interesting one because it's so visual, and I really like it for a couple of reasons that we're going to talk about as well. So this is what we're going to cover today. And these are stats as of January 2021. So this is like recent. Yeah. All right, let's dive in. So Facebook, I mean, we all know about Facebook at this point, right? So that one's been around forever, and it's likely why it's the top used platform. So it's got 2.7 billion monthly users, and its largest age group is people aged 25 to 34. So that gives you an idea. It is also trending more towards the boomer generation. So the more and more people that are on it, the older they are. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But currently we are still at the largest age group of 25 to 34. Some highlights of this platform are it's a really great place to run ads. So ads are really booming on Facebook. And the cool part of running ads on Facebook is that you can run them on Instagram as well, just by like ticking off a box. So you're covering 2 platforms for the price of 1, basically. Another benefit is Facebook groups. Like Facebook groups are this whole unique thing that Facebook provides as a platform. And they're a great way to network. They're a great way to spread word. They're a great way to connect with people. So that is a really huge benefit of Facebook as well. And you can get really specific with your demographics depending on who you're targeting when it comes to Facebook groups too. So if you're sticking locally, you can find Sudbury-based groups. You can find discipline-based groups like within your arts discipline, whatever it is, it's really nice because you can get super specific and find a big group of people that are potentially directly in your target market right off the bat, right? So that's cool. The drawback with Facebook, and this is why Facebook drives me nuts, is that the organic reach is dropping. And basically what that means is when you place a post on Facebook and you just like post it on your page, on your Facebook business page, so you'd want to create a page, there's a certain number of people that see that post, right? So that is your reach, is the number of unique individuals that see that post. And organic just means that it's not a paid post, so you haven't paid for it to be spread out. It's not an ad, it's organic. So Facebook has limited organic reach because they want people to start paying them for reach right now. Yeah, it's super unfortunate. So if you are like just about to start a Facebook business page, don't be discouraged if it doesn't grow super quickly because it's tough right now. Like it's tough out there. So just keep that in mind if that's something you are considering. But it's great to be on because there's so many people and it's easy to find, right? Like you Google a business and their Facebook page pops up. So good to have a presence, but take this information as you will and use it for your business, right? And what you think is best. Facebook is also really just great for informative content. It's great for visual content, really great for video content as well. So depending on what you're going for, it really kind of is, it takes any type of content essentially, which is great. So, all right, let's talk about, does anybody have any questions about Facebook?
Yeah, I actually have a question.
Yes.
So I ran ads through Facebook and Instagram, like you were talking about on my page. And I found it was like, I didn't grow that many followers or have like much more engagement. So I'm just wondering like what you think, if it was like a bad time, like a peak time that I posted it, or
yeah,
if you do it more normally during like holidays or something like that.
So the tricky part is that, did you run like test ads? Did you test your ad before you ran it, or you just like, did you boost a post?
Yeah, I boosted a post.
Okay, so
That's
you
what it
boosted a
was.
post. Yeah. So there are two ways to run ads on Facebook. You can boost a post, which is just like you create an organic post, you post it, and then you can decide to promote that post by adding money to it. Or you can create a whole ad. There's a whole ad manager section of Facebook, and that is like a separate thing. And the reason for that is that like boosting a post is much easier to do, and it's nice to do once in a while. So I would recommend it. But if you're really wanting to run like an ad campaign, you're going to want to go into Facebook Ads Manager, because you're able to get more specific about your target market. There's more
Okay.
settings, but the con to that is it's way more complicated.
Okay.
It's super complicated. So you'll be YouTubing some ad videos, ad creation videos. It could
Yeah,
have
because I was
been,
just kind of disappointed. Like,
yeah,
I thought I was gonna grow more followers and have more engagement, and it didn't seem like that at all.
yeah. It can be tough. Like ads are tough. They're not always going to work just because you put money into them. It's tough.
Yeah.
Another way to kind of get some traction in that way, if you're looking for quick growth, is, you know, getting people to share that post.
Oh, okay.
That makes Facebook is no longer in charge of how far that reaches. That means people are sharing it to their pages. So that many more people are seeing it, right? So that is one strategy you can use to grow if the ads aren't working for you. I mean, I would recommend everybody trial and error this stuff, right? Like if you're curious about boosting a post, then boost a post and see what happens. But there's a lot of ways we can grow organically as well. So another thing I would recommend for you, Emily, is running a giveaway is also a great way to grow, have like a little boost in growth for your page.
Yeah, I've actually done that, and that like did way better than the ad did. And I was like, I'm putting money into this and it's not even doing anything.
I totally get it. I know, I feel you on that. I've done the same thing. I've run like a full ad campaign and it like didn't do anything. And then I did organic stuff and it did great. So
okay, cool.
It's so trial and error. Like you are not guaranteed, like it's not guaranteed to work. But there are definitely some other things you can try, right? And a great way to do giveaways, especially as artists, is doing cross-promotional giveaways. So teaming up with other business owners, other artists, and doing like a whole package giveaway where you're giving away some of your stuff, some of their stuff, and you run it on multiple pages so that you're kind of sharing your audiences.
Okay.
So that's another option for you. Yeah.
We have a question in the chat. I purchased a website, but have not really figured out a way to send my customers to it. I feel the most of my customers found me on Messenger and Instagram, and Facebook seems to be where all the people are spending money are.
Right. Okay. That's a loaded question. There's a lot in there. So it's all about the way you're funneling people, right? And it's all about which platform works for you. So, sorry, where's the question? It's in the chat?
It's in the chat. Yeah, it was from Stephanie.
Okay. So basically what I would say is that you're using Facebook and Instagram and you're not seeing any people through to your website, correct?
Yeah, she says right.
Okay, cool. So it depends what your strategy is. Like, are you doing your call to actions at the end of your post? Are you saying, hey, like you have your content and your caption, whatever you're posting that day, whether you're just, happy Friday, this is what's up. Hey, also head to the link in my bio to check out my website. Is there something that you're doing to drive people to the website actively? Here we go. I'm going to open the chat. Here we are. She's not answering, but I'll just go on. So basically you have to make sure that you are still promoting this platform, right? Like when we're setting up funnels and we want to direct people to a certain spot, whether we want to direct them to our mailing list, we want to direct them to our website. If you have a Facebook group that you're building that you want to send them to, you want to gear your content towards that. So you want to have your call to action. So making sure you're asking them to take action and saying, hey, go to the link in my bio to check this out on my website, or go like sign up for my Facebook group at the link in my bio, or my mailing list at the link in my bio. And your content, we'll talk about content, but we need to drive value, right? So by giving value by either entertaining, inspiring, educating within the caption, or within your video, or whatever you're doing, right? Whatever type of content you're creating, making sure that at the end, when you do want to drive that traffic in those moments, make sure you're asking people. No, it doesn't annoy people. And that's the beautiful balance of it. Sorry, Stephanie asked if she wasn't certain if this would annoy people. So the thing is, it's a balance, right? So you need to balance giving that value with making that ask. So do it as much as feels good to you. You don't need to do it all the time, but every once in a while, let's say you're, running a campaign to drive traffic to your mailing list, you do need to talk about it, or else people aren't going to know that it's there, right? Okay, amazing. Does anybody have any Facebook questions before I move on?
Could we reach out to you later if we think of any questions later on?
Yes, 100%. You can reach out to me. Maybe I'll leave my email or something, Linda.
Yeah, I'll make sure I send it on to you guys.
Okay,
Thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to reach out to me with any questions afterwards, okay?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, because there's a lot, like I'm gonna cover 4 more platforms, so plus a bunch of other stuff. So there's a lot. So if you have any questions, you can just email me as well afterwards if they're like more hefty, but I'm happy to answer them here. So let's talk YouTube quickly. So YouTube is very well used, right? So similar to Facebook, its largest age group is 15 to 25. The difference is it's a very different platform, right? We use YouTube for videos only. So YouTube is the largest video platform that there is. And some of the highlights of using this is that like the shift towards video content, like there's a huge trend for video content right now. It's often content that is going to be the most engaged with, that people are going to like the most, which makes sense, right? Because you're able to showcase, your skill, your talent, your personality, all within the frame. Like people like that human element, right? And so that's why video is really trending. And YouTube's a great platform to make the most of that. So, and I know there's a couple of choreographers, dancers, like if this is, if you're doing video content, YouTube is a great option for you. It's the go-to platform for video content. And hold on. Oh, I forgot that point. Okay. So what's nice about it too is it's less algorithm based than Facebook. Like think about when you go and use YouTube, right? You're searching for something specific. So it's more keyword based. It's more like SEO based than Facebook or Instagram. Facebook or Instagram, you follow somebody, it shows up on your feed once in a while. Like that's what the algorithm is it basically dictates what you see on that platform based on what it thinks you like. Right? So on Facebook and Instagram and these other platforms we're going to talk about, you have to learn to work with the algorithm too, right? Whereas YouTube is much more searchable, like much more searchable. So those are some highlights of YouTube. Here we go. Okay, let's talk Instagram. This is my favorite platform. This is the platform I know the most about. So if you have Instagram questions, I will take them. We have 1 billion users, so not as many as Facebook, but it's still very widely used. And one of the biggest highlights of Instagram is it's very business-based, much like Facebook is. So there's a lot of brands on Instagram. It's a great place to be present as a business. And some of the highlights include that, like there's a lot of cross-promotional opportunities with Facebook because you can run ads on both platforms at the same time. There's so many different ways you can showcase content, like there's stories, right? Which are those little circle videos at the top. There's posts, which are the things that show up on your feed. And then there's reels, right? So that's a whole new feature that we can talk about too. And that's basically their way of competing with TikTok. So they're short videos, essentially. If you aren't familiar, they're very short videos that have a lot of like trends to them. So we'll get into that if we need to. But it's the most popular platform that people use to follow brands on. So people will shop on this platform. So it's often used for sales and support. And then it's a great network for engaging and networking with your audience. So
How long are the videos? Like you said, they're short, like 1 minute, 30 seconds?
yeah, so Instagram, that's the thing with Instagram is there's like so many different ways you can do videos and each of them have a different time length. So stories, you have like, you can put a ton of them up, but you only have a minute to record in a row. But you can put a bunch of minutes up side by side, right? The reels are only 15 seconds, 15 seconds on Instagram. So that's a short video, but it's a great way to showcase, especially like, you know, if you're a painter and you're painting something, you can showcase that process because you can speed up the video. Like it's really cool. There's a lot of opportunities there. And there's another one called IGTV, which is when you post longer videos. So IGTV videos can be from anywhere from basically over a minute long to 60 minutes if you're posting. And I can get into the details quickly. So if you're posting from your phone, you can only upload a maximum of a 15-minute video, 15 to IGTV. But if you want to post something that's up to 60 minutes, an hour, you want to upload it on your computer. It's the only time you can upload any content to Instagram from your computer. Otherwise, it's just on the app. And then if you're posting on your feed, like a regular post, like you would post an image, if you're posting a video like that, your video can only be up to 1 minute. So there's a lot of little particular things. It's not like, you know, it can get a little complicated, but once you learn how to use it, you get the point eventually. But yeah, Instagram is a great platform. I absolutely love it. It's great for driving traffic, but the algorithm can be a little bit tricky on it. So you need to learn to work with the algorithm. And I'm going to cover growth hacks in a little bit. So we're going to talk about hashtags and engagement in a couple of slides, but I just want to do the overview of the platforms first. So, okay, TikTok, this is like the new kid on the block. It grew in massive popularity this past year, and it is only video based. So these are Instagram Reels basically, but TikTok is a bit more developed than the Reels. There are less people on it and it is a much younger age demographic. But I've seen a lot of artists using TikTok because it's a very creative platform. So basically, like it's trending towards here to stay. So it's, you know, it's not a fad. If you're convincing yourself not to use it because it's a fad, it's not a fad. I'm telling you right now. And basically, they're developing ad features on the platform so you can run ads on TikTok. And basically, like it's a whole culture. So there's a lot of opportunities to hop on trends. So every couple of weeks, there are new trends that are happening. So this would be like with the types of videos you're creating. And what's cool about it is it's really sound-based as well. So this is a great platform if you're a musician too. And it's just really cool. Like, honestly, I would recommend just download it and scroll on it and check it out, right? That's your research. Do some scrolling, figure out what the trends are a little bit, get a feel for its vibe. If it's kind of scary to you, if you want to look into it, just download it and start watching it. Like, that's my best advice. But it's very cool that it's sound-based because you can actually upload sounds to it, like original sounds, and then people can use that sound for their video when they're creating their own video. So it is a very interesting way to be able to spread, let's say you are creating music, to be able to spread your music. There's a lot of different opportunities. It's a very unique platform. Do you guys have any questions about these ones?
I have one. You were talking about IGTV and the algorithm with that. I grew most of my follower base on Instagram,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of getting into Reels now. I'm just things pop up on IGTV for me all the time, and it almost seems like random, but I still see all these people, like doing stuff that I've never seen before. Do you know
Yeah.
how the algorithm kind of works in terms of how you get new content that way, and how, like, if I did something, how would somebody else get it? You know what I mean?
So one of the tricks to that on Instagram is hashtags. So using hashtags that your target market would use. That is the trick. If you're using hashtags that, like, make it a mix. You can use some hashtags that are relevant to your artwork, to your business, use some hashtags that are relevant to your target market. But if you're only using hashtags that are relevant to you as the artist, you're only going to attract other people in your industry. You know what I mean? So throw in some things, try and put your head inside the mind of your target market person, right? And think like, okay, what kind of hashtags would they be using? Because often they'll be able to find you through those hashtags, and your content is more likely to pop up on their feeds. So that is one way, is through hashtags. Other than that, also doing engagement and reaching out to people. The thing about Instagram is the more of its features you use, like if you're doing IGTV, you're doing stories, you're doing posts, you're doing lives, you're doing reels, like the more features you use of Instagram, the further Instagram is going to send your content. It's going to show your content to more people because it likes you, basically. That's the gist of it. So, at the end of the day, it can be tough to get your content out there, but it's a matter of, using hashtags and just being present on the platform on as many features as you can. Like, I don't encourage people to do all of the things. You don't need to be doing all of the things. Do what you can, like do what is within your, like what you have energy for, right? Like, I don't want to overwhelm you. I don't want you to get burnt out just doing your like marketing, right? So do what makes sense for you and create a schedule that is doable for you, because that's the best way to get consistent with it too. It's another important thing about getting your content out there is being consistent with it. And consistency doesn't necessarily mean quantity. That doesn't mean you need to be posting multiple times a week. It just means you need to post consistently. So post at least 2 to 3 times a week, right? And maintain that. Like, don't just fully ghost on people, basically. Don't fully stop doing that. It's okay to take breaks here and there, but like if you stop for a month and then you try and get back into it, it's tough. It just makes it harder on you. Okay, cool. Let's go to the next slide. I'm going to cover Pinterest. So I wanted to cover Pinterest because it's a really interesting platform. It's totally different than anything else we've talked about. So basically, it's visual, but like, and you can upload photos and videos. The cool thing about Pinterest is that you directly link things on every single pin, is what they call them. So that would be like your post on Pinterest is a pin, and you upload a graphic of some sort or a photo of your art or whatever you want to do, or a video of you dancing, whatever it is, and have a little caption. And every single pin can contain a link. So often what people will use it for is to drive traffic to their website or their mailing list, right? Some type of landing page that you have, with whether it's your artwork and you're setting up an e-commerce site, anything to drive traffic. A lot of people will link it to blog posts. So if you are blogging, if you're a writer and you're blogging, then you can link it to that blog. So this is another great way if you're looking to drive traffic and funnel people through to that email list, that website, wherever you're collecting your leads, right? It is like the most predominantly female-based social media platform. It is fairly product focused, and yeah, it's great if you have a blog or a visual medium, if you're educating people on something, like top 3 tips for this or whatever it is. So that's a great platform for that. And then we'll touch on Twitter briefly because Jasmine brought it up. I don't know a ton about Twitter. I haven't really been on it very much, to be honest, just because it's not a very, like, there's a lot of big corporations on Twitter, right? Like there's a lot of big brands. And so it's a very interesting platform. I don't know, Jasmine, if you had any specific questions about Twitter.
Not really. I just am more looking to get like a general idea of how to run social media. And I do have like a personal Twitter account. So I see lots of like artists engaging with each other. And so, yeah, I thought that it could be like a good thing for artists, but I'm basically just learning everything right now.
Yeah, totally. Twitter, I'll mention like the only little things about Twitter that kind of are important, which is Twitter is, I mean, it's visual and also text. So you write the captions, but they're short captions. So you have a limit. I think it's like 240 characters or 280 characters, something like that. So it's really short captions. So that is one important thing to note is the medium of it. So yeah, it's an interesting platform. I mean, I just recommend, if you're doing this, like, just go check these out. You don't need to be on all of them. Maybe pick one, maybe pick two. If you want to explore more, go for it. But like, you don't need to do everything. So make it as easy as possible on yourself and learn one platform really well. Learn one or two platforms really well and get good at those. That's what I would really recommend at the end of the day. Okay.
Nick, I'm just going to ask, when you say learn one or two of them really well, how do they learn more about it? Like, is there help things there, or how do they learn more about it?
Like go on YouTube and find videos.
Okay, got it.
Because YouTube is free. So I would recommend, if there's anything, if you're like, oh my God, I have to make a reel. I don't know how to make a reel, because that's the newest thing. And nobody knows how to do it right now. Go to YouTube and search, how do I make a reel? Like, because that's a whole other strategy session that we would have to sit down and like chat this out, right? There's so much.
Something that you can do too is find an artist that you like on that platform and then snoop their feed.
Yes, totally. You can snoop their feed. Go check out who's following them too. That's another fun one to just see, like, oh, who's interested in their art? Like, what types of people? If you're trying to figure out who your target market is, that might help inform that, right? I love that tip, Evelyn. Thank you. Okay, cool.
I have a quick Pinterest question.
Yes.
Is there a way to say your services is more like specific to folks like in your city or anything? Is there a way to like target like regions, like as opposed to getting people to?
Yeah.
Is there a way to do that?
So I think the only way to do that really would be if you boost a pin, like if you do an ad.
Okay.
And it's less complicated than on Facebook to do. And I've actually seen more results from boosting pins on Pinterest than Facebook, just personally.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that you can boost a pin for your area and region.
Oh, cool.
So that
Okay.
would be an option for you.
Awesome. Thanks.
No problem.
And if it's okay, we're kind of at our break time. So how about we stop here before you get into another exciting piece?
Sure.
And so we'll have till 8:05. Okay. Great. So go do whatever you need to do, and washroom break, get a coffee or whatever, and we'll see you back at 5 after.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hello.
Yeah, I really liked your artwork. It was really nice.
Pardon?
I really enjoyed your artwork.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's lots of fun to do.
Yeah, maybe I should send you a little picture of my dog and get you to hire you to do a small little sketch for me just to sort of have something from one of my fellow
Oh,
co
yeah.
things. So
I would love to do that.
what's your email? Like it,
I can write it in the chat if you want.
yeah, right in the chat and I'll copy it right now.
Okay.
Because I had your website, but I wasn't even sure of that. But I'd like to show my wife some of your stuff.
Oh, that'd be so nice. I love that. Okay, so that's my email. Hold on, I haven't pressed enter yet. Do you want my okay, there it is. And
Mhm.
do you want my Instagram or something?
Oh
Or
no,
is
I'm not.
this email?
I'm just lucky enough to be on email, let alone.
Oh yeah,
I'm not on all the other stuff.
I'm
So
the
okay,
same
I
with
lost
like.
your. Okay, how do I check out that? How do I find that chat again? I lost it.
If you go down the bottom or
Right.
somewhere and hover, you should see chat, and then you just need to click on it. And it'll pop
Yeah.
up.
I can also just say it. It's
No, well, I should learn how to do this. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's on the right hand side. There, I see. Okay.
yeah.
Thanks, Linda.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's just better I learn how to do it because
Yeah, it's
you
always
always
good to learn.
Yeah,
Teach
that's
it.
all part of the class, right? Is to help
Yeah.
you learn
Okay.
different things. Yeah, I think we could probably use it next two nights.
I know, I'm like, I could really make this quite a bit longer.
Yeah.
And Nick,
Like
I was going to ask you.
learn.
I went on your Facebook page or your website, whatever it was, and who took all the pictures of you? You're always so happy and you're smiling. Who took all the pictures of you? You have
Well,
a,
I'm just, that's me all the time, but.
That's right.
no, but I
Um,
know, but is that did you have someone like come along with you, take all your pictures all the time?
Yeah, my friends did actually. I had a couple of friends and yeah, I stole their apartment. It's a nice doing a little photo shoot and getting a bunch of photos done if you are going to show up on your page is really great to do. Like just batch them, like bring a bunch of outfits, change around in them. If that's something you're gonna do, that's a great way to do it because then you only have to do it for an afternoon.
Yeah, no, you had a variety of pictures of you, and it was just all about you here and you there, and you doing something
Yeah.
else, and it's all
It's my
about you.
business.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's good. No,
I
that was
totally
well
get
done.
that.
Yeah.
I've tried to like build my brand around like my personality as well. That's kind of helps, I find. I'm gonna try the giveaway thing. I just built a website, and so like I'm kind of going pro a little bit, but I think I'm gonna try the giveaway because that seems like a really good idea. I haven't tried yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you
that's
can
gonna
pair
be
up
fun.
with people. It's just such a great way to do like a boost. Like if you're really trying to get a little influx of followers, giveaways are really where it's at.
Oh, nice.
Does a giveaway mean you actually give away something?
Yes, you do have to give away something.
Like a picture, whatever pictures or a t-shirt or
Yeah,
something?
like you could do a piece of artwork. You could, yeah, whatever your discipline is. I don't know if you're a choreographer, you could do like a little Zoom dance class, or I don't know what it is, right? You can get creative with it.
How would
If
you
you're-
choose a winner?
So you will typically write like and share the post, follow the page, and comment. And I often like to do like tag a friend in the comments, so then you're getting that many more people coming to the page. And then you pick a deadline. So make sure that you have a deadline and you're clear about that. You're saying like cutoff is, on this day, and then we'll announce the winner. And you can, there's websites that do it. So you could like generate it through a website, but you can also just open the page and close your eyes and point to a comment, right? And then make sure they fulfilled all the other requirements of that giveaway before choosing them. The other thing I do want to say with giveaways is that there is a disclaimer that you should be putting on them, which is that like this giveaway is not affiliated with whatever platform it's being given out on. So it's not affiliated with Instagram or Facebook. So that is like a requirement of giveaways nowadays. So making sure that you have that disclaimer.
And then I guess we have to be careful because if we choose a winner that lives in a different city,
yeah. So
we would have to ship or give them a gift certificate, or we have to figure
yeah,
something out.
so you can also say like, this is only open to Sudbury residents.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm. But
Okay.
just as long as you specify all of that information in that giveaway post, that first post.
Okay, be very specific. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So that people are clear and nobody can come back to you and say like, oh, well, you know, like I should have gotten this because of this or whatever, right? So just cover your butt. All right.
Okay, so we'll let you start again for sure.
Yes, let's dive back in.
Yeah.
We'll have to go fast now. Okay, cool. So we kind of covered this, so I'm not going to go too into detail, but stories are available on Instagram and Facebook, and they're a really great way to collaborate with other accounts because you can share posts from other accounts to your stories. They're really great for hopping on and showing your face if you want to talk on your story. I know a lot of people find it really cringy to do this. So you don't have to do it. But if you are building a personal brand or you want to show up a little bit more, it's a great way to engage with people because people love to get to know you. Like they love to get to know you. Even if your business is your product, it's still great to introduce yourself because people love other people, right? It's great for generating engagement in your stories on Instagram and Facebook. You can do little polls. So you can say like, oh, you know, are you a coffee or a tea person? You can put that stuff in and people can click. And so getting that engagement is really great. Number one, Instagram likes you when you get engagement. Number two, it shows you who's ready to interact and engage with your content, who's actually, you know, like invested in your business and your artwork. It's great for just like taking people and showcasing behind the scenes of what you're doing, especially if you're creating art. I think that's a great place to do it. Highlights are kind of another thing to do with stories on Instagram. So creating highlights, I don't know if you guys have seen on your Instagram page, you'll see those little circles under your bio. So those are highlights, and basically with those highlights, you're able to take old stories you've posted and keep them up on your page because stories only last 24 hours and then they disappear. And so when you put them in your highlights, they stay up on your page the whole time. So you can do like product highlights if you have certain, again, I'll use a visual arts example, but if you have certain prints you're promoting, you know, for a couple of weeks, put them in a prints highlight, right? You can do like my life highlight and showcase some of your stuff that you do, like just in your day-to-day. There's a lot of options for this, but it's great because when people hit your page, they can look at it right away. And I'll touch again on how often to post, but like it really depends on you. I typically recommend post to your feed, you know, at least twice a week, 3 times. Max or minimum, and to stories, you know, every other day or a couple times a week is really beneficial. Okay, lives, IGTV, Reels. We touched on IGTV and we touched on Reels, so I'm just going to talk about lives quickly. So you can do these on Instagram and Facebook. You can go live. So it's basically would be like if I was going live on Facebook right now, it would be me talking right now. So it's not pre-recorded. You're doing it in the moment, and they're really great because when you do a live, you don't have to pre-record, right? So they can be a time saver, but it can be intimidating to do, right? But you can get creative with it and start some cool series. Like, let's say you're like, you know, I don't know, painting with Bridget every week, and you're going live every week and you're painting with the people on your page, right? So it's like setting up those little creative ways of showcasing your work where people are like actually like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm going to go check out Bridget's painting live right now. So I'm going to go watch. So there's little ways you can get creative with it. Some people will do like, you know, interview shows. If you're a writer and you're passionate about writing, maybe you interview writers once a week or once a month. And that's like a thing that you do regularly. So you can get creative with this stuff, which is really fun. Okay, social media tools that are outside of social media, right? So the beauty of these tools on the left here, Hootsuite, Buffer, and Later are all platforms you can schedule posts on. So you don't have to post live. So these are all options. I know Hootsuite and Buffer have free versions. I don't know about Later, so you'd have to look into it. They might just have a free trial. But this allows you to schedule your posts. So let's say you want to post like tomorrow at 5 p.m., but you're doing your content right now. You can copy paste your caption and upload your image directly into Hootsuite and it'll schedule it for you. So it'll go onto your page automatically. You just need to connect your accounts to it. I prefer Hootsuite over Buffer just because I like the layout better. It's more of like a calendar format. So you can move your posts around in the calendar, which is kind of cool. Buffer just lays them out all in a row. So that's the way I like it, but you can go in and check it out, right? They're both free. So go and play around with that. I find them really useful. These are some other little extra things too. So Planoly app is a great app to plan out your Instagram feed. So if you really are one of those people who really cares what your Instagram page looks like in your grid, like all of your photos, you can download Planoly and you can upload your images to Planoly before you upload them to Instagram. So you can see what your grid will look like all laid out. So that's a nice one, especially again, if you are one of those artists that is like your feed is super important, the way it looks to you. So Mojo is a fun app also for Instagram. I know I'm on the Instagram train, but I love Instagram. So Mojo is an app that provides templates for your stories. So you can go in, pick a template, you can edit it, like put in your brand colors and write out what you want or put in a little photo. And it just creates a nice polished look. So that's something that's fun to play around with. Preview app is basically the same as Planoly. Both of those will schedule posts for you too for Instagram, but only Instagram. Hootsuite and Buffer will do multiple different types of accounts. You can do Twitter, you can do LinkedIn, Facebook, you can do Instagram on Hootsuite and Buffer. Lastly, Milkshake is cool. So on Instagram, you're only allowed one link, and that link goes in your bio on your page. When you put a link in a post on Instagram, it doesn't actually link. It just writes it out as if it's part of your caption. So Milkshake allows you, if you have multiple links you want on your Instagram page, it allows you to create like a little Instagram website. So it gives you one link that leads to a page with multiple buttons that can lead to a blog post, that can lead to your website, that can lead to your mailing list sign up form. Wherever you want to send people, you can do a couple of them. And the reason I recommend Milkshake is because it's super editable. So you can input your color codes from your brand kit if you have specific colors you want to use, and it's got a lot of fonts, a lot of options. So that's fun. Another one you can use is Linktree. A lot of people use Linktree. I just like Milkshake because it's prettier. Okay. So those are kind of your extra tools. So yeah, if we're talking growth hacks, I mean, we covered giveaways a little bit. So I want to cover engagement, and how to grow basically. So this is important. Like I'll cover don't post and ghost. That's important for Facebook and Instagram and any other platform you're using. Don't just post and then walk away. Like, yes, if you're scheduling your post, I get it. You're not going to be present the whole time, but know that you've posted and know that you do have to visit that post eventually, because it's important to answer any comments. Because number one, it'll add to your comments, and then the algorithm will like you more because more people are engaging with your posts. And then on top of that, it allows you to continue building those relationships on the platform, right? So we talked a little bit about networking. It's super important to do that. So don't post and just walk away. Make sure you're aware that you posted and revisit that post, maybe the day after if you're busy, but just know that you've posted. Another great way to do engagement is to follow your hashtags. So we talked briefly about using hashtags that apply to your target market. So go and use those hashtags. Go look into like hashtag Sudbury Life, see who's posting there, see if there's anybody you can connect with. Engagement takes it feels like a little more effort than just posting content, but it's a super important way to build your brand and your following and your business on Instagram and Facebook, and on other platforms as well. Use the explore page. So that is like the search page on Instagram, and go find people and engage with them. So go follow their page, go comment on some of their posts, go like their posts, spend time engaging with them. and they will likely come and do it for you as well. So it's almost like a back and forth that happens once in a while too. So it's just good to get your name out there as well, right? Like you are doing your outreach. And lastly, spend some time on your feed. So once you followed those people, just take some time to scroll through your feed once in a while. And if you see a post pop up, comment on it and be friendly, whatever it is, right? Like the way I like to look at engagement is it's basically networking online. Like you're just networking, but it's in the online space. So it feels a little bit different. But get to know people and get your name out there, right? Is one way to grow on these pages and one of the things that you can do. And then I'll talk hashtags briefly because I get this question all the time. So which hashtags to use? So I typically recommend you use between 5,000, sorry. So let me back it up. So hashtags are basically things people use in their post so that they categorize them, right? And so when you use a hashtag on your post, it puts it on a hashtag page. It puts it on that page. So let's say I posted something and I posted hashtag Sudbury Life. I go and I search Sudbury Life on that app. It's going to pull up all of the posts that have used that hashtag. So that's how hashtags work. It creates a category essentially. So there are hashtags that have posts in the millions. Like there are millions of posts using some of these hashtags, right? We want to use hashtags that are less often used because you're more likely to be found. So hashtag pages, there's two hashtag pages. There's a top page. So if your post does really well, it'll be on the top page, which is like one of the search pages. And if you just use the hashtag, it's going to be on a recent page. And so every time you use the hashtag, you're going to show up on that page, but it gets filtered by most recent post. So let's say I use a hashtag that's like in the millions, my post gets pushed down really quickly. If I'm using a hashtag that has less posts using it, my post is more likely to stay closer to the top of that page for longer, right? So I typically recommend you use hashtags that have, you can use even the smaller ones if you're targeting geographically, because there's a lot of Sudbury ones that are low. So typically with posts that have hashtags that have between 500 posts all the way up to 100,000 or 100,000 posts is what I would recommend. And you can use a couple in the millions. There's nothing wrong with that. But these are the pages that you're going to be found on more likely. And yeah, if you're geographically based, use geographical hashtags, use Sudbury hashtags. And you can do your research by literally going to the Instagram search page, the Explore page, and typing in the hashtags, and you're going to see it pop up. And it's going to tell you right there how many posts are already using that hashtag. So you're going to be able to see it right away. So yeah, a great way to come up with hashtags. Think about your target market, think about their pastimes, what they do in their lives, what their careers are, whatever it is. Use those hashtags. And then also geographical hashtags are great too. Even if you're not just Sudbury based, if you're doing e-commerce, you're willing to ship your stuff, or you cater to a wider geographical region, use Toronto based hashtags, use Ottawa hashtags, use Vancouver hashtags, right? Like the sky's the limit with this stuff. So that's my main hashtag tip. You're allowed to use up to 30 hashtags on Instagram, and I typically recommend use between 15 to 30, just because that's how many pages you're going to show up on. Some people you'll hear say don't use 30 because you're going to come off like you're a robot on Instagram, but I've never seen that happen. I've been doing it forever and I never see that happen. So use between 15 to 30, whatever you're comfortable with. And what I recommend too is create a hashtag bank. So your hashtag bank is basically take like 30 minutes, sit down with your phone in the app and go and research your hashtags and write them out so that every time you post, you can just copy paste those hashtags into your post. You don't want to be using the same exact hashtags in the same sequence on every post though. You want to switch it up a little bit because you don't want Instagram to think you're a robot. So typically what I'll do is I'll have like 2 or 3 groupings that I rotate on a regular basis. So that's something you can do. All right. Hold on. Okay. And then another tool that I want you guys to just be aware of is analytics. This is available to any business page on the majority of platforms. I think all platforms. So just be aware that you can check your reach. So you can see how far your posts are going. You can check your engagement, which is when people interact with your post. So whether they like, comment, or share your post, you can check those numbers. You can check how many people have been visiting your profile page, your business page. And your impressions, which is the total number of people that have seen your posts. So reach and impressions are different. Impressions are like, if I saw your post twice, that would count as 2. Reach is if I saw your post twice, that would count as 1 because I'm a unique viewer. So just keep an eye on these. The reason I bring them to your attention is because it's going to help you figure out what type of content that your audience likes. So you're going to see which posts do better than others. Not all of your posts are going to be the best. Not all of them are going to be amazing, and you're going to get a couple of really great ones. But by keeping an eye on your reach, your engagement, you're paying attention to kind of what content your audience really likes. Okay.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a quick question? Just like say on Instagram, where do you find the analytics information?
Yeah, sure. So, for example, on Instagram, they're going to be like in your posts. So you need to make sure you have a business page, like a business account or a creator account. If you don't, you can go into your settings to change that, because that also allows you to have the link in your bio. So make sure you do. And when you see that, you should be able to honestly just go to your post. And maybe I can pull it up here, but you can go to the post that you want to look at, and you're going to see right under the image, it's going to show view insights. And if you click on that, there's going to be like a little menu that pops up that you can scroll, like lift up, and it's going to show you, your likes, your comments, your shares, your reach. It even breaks it down into like, you can see how much reach you got from your hashtag specifically. You can see what percentage of people that saw your post are not your followers. Like there's a lot of information. On Facebook, if you have a Facebook page, you're going to see there's a menu on the left side that has insights. If you click on insights, you're going to be able to see so much information. Like you're going to be able to see a post section, a followers section, where it gives you all the details on all of this stuff. So there's lots of numbers when you start digging into it.
And those are specifically, you need to have that business account for both, right? Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, to be able to see analytics, you have to have a business account. And I believe it's the same thing for LinkedIn, for Twitter, for Pinterest too, for I'm like, what else do we go over? TikTok, YouTube. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Cool. So let's talk the next step, which is lead generation. So I want to give you some email marketing platforms that you can use. So 2 of my favorite free platforms are MailChimp and Constant Contact. There are a lot of them out there. So if neither of these work for you, like I don't even know. I'm trying to remember. There's so many. There's Flowdesk, which I don't think is free, but I know people really like. But MailChimp and Constant Contact are just very straightforward. They give you email templates that you can use, or when you're building the email, you have drag and drop options. You can on the side, you can drag your text in and then write your text. You can drag like an image box in and then upload an image into it. So, and you can move those little boxes around as you please. So it's super, super user friendly. And figuring out how to integrate a sign up form is quite straightforward as well. So you're able to also, if you don't have a website, another website option is if you just want to create a landing page. Let's say your business, your digital website is really simple. You can start by just creating a landing page on one of these email marketing platforms. So that is an option for you. Another really cool thing that MailChimp and Constant Contact do is email automations. So possibly something to think about is, what is your email nurture sequence? So when someone signs up for your mailing list, do they get any emails, right? Automated. So you can automate like a welcome email when they sign up, so that the minute they sign up, they get a welcome email in their inbox saying, hey, this is me, this is what I do. Thank you so much for signing up. I'm so excited to get to know you, right? So you're creating like a really nice little space for them to be in. So that's an option for automations. And sometimes people will send more than that. Like, let's say you have, and again, it depends how you want to set this up. One strategy you can use is having like a freebie. So an incentive to have people to opt into your mailing list that they will get in their inbox when they sign up. And it's typically like a downloadable something. Again, I don't know, maybe you're doing a dance lesson. And so you can do some type of freebie that's like a little video dance training or something, just to get people incentivized into signing up to your mailing list. So that goes there. And that when they sign up, that lands in their inbox. And so setting up a nurture sequence would just be a matter of like, okay, and then like one day later, you're going to automate an email to send to them to like say, hey, I hope you enjoyed that freebie. Like, let me know how it went or whatever. You know, it's just creating that space and nurturing that relationship. So automations are really cool in that way, and they're a really great option for your business. And then all of these have really great integration. So you can integrate, payment processors, you can integrate your website, all of that kind of stuff. So I personally use MailChimp. I really like it. And it's great because it's fairly straightforward once you get into it. You can create multiple audiences too. So let's say you have people coming from like, they're not necessarily signing up for your mailing list, but maybe you're doing like a course and you want people to sign up for your course. You can have a separate audience for that and have a whole other set of people that you send emails to for that. So there's like so many ways you can do this, a lot of options. But yeah, I really like MailChimp personally. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about email? All right. I heard a dog bark. Cool. I love it. That's great. Okay. Website tools, setting up your website. So again, I am not the website expert, but I do have a couple I would recommend. So it depends what you want to do with your website, right? It's a similar thing. Before you decide which social media platform you're using, you need to know what your goals are. What are your goals for your website? Are you, do you just need a space on the internet where people can go and get to know you? Are you selling products on this website? How complicated does it have to be? Are you like getting people to sign up for like a membership or whatever? I don't know if anybody's doing that. I know you're all at this, but I'm just using some examples to showcase the different things you can do. So if you're keeping it really simple, some of the super user-friendly websites that I know of and that I have used are Squarespace and Wix. So these are like subscription-based websites, and they have templates that you can use where they're similar kind of to building an email on MailChimp, where you literally, when you're creating a page, you're dragging and dropping like the text box, and then you're writing your text. You're dragging and dropping, the image box, and you're uploading your image. And you can pick and choose the colors that you want to use and the fonts that you want to use and all of that stuff. So they are flexible enough and customizable enough. And you're able to do integration. So you can sell product on these websites. They just aren't really considered like e-commerce websites. So if you have a ton of products lined up, I would probably recommend Shopify over one of these. Shopify is like one of the most popular e-commerce platforms out there. So yeah, if you're like lining up your products, I would definitely recommend Shopify. It's drag and drop templates as well, but it's more geared towards e-commerce. Like the whole company is e-commerce focused. So there's tons of integrations that would be useful for you when it comes to especially like community support and customer service stuff. So I do know that that's available to you through Shopify if you are using their website platform. And then lastly is WordPress, which I have to be honest, I'm not super familiar with, but I do know that it can be really, it's more complicated. So WordPress is more a website that might involve coding. So if you want to stay away from tech, then I would recommend one of the other ones. But if you're like a techie and you're ready to kind of create a website that is exactly what you want it to be, WordPress is your platform. And that's the benefit of it, right? Is that it's super, super customizable to exactly what you want, like to a T. And I do know that you can find pre-made themes to simplify things. So themes that allow you to do a little bit of dragging and dropping, but there could be a little bit of coding involved with WordPress is the only thing. But it's a super popular platform. A lot of people use it. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on too is using blogging as a marketing tool. I know I mentioned it briefly when I was speaking about Pinterest, but this is something to consider having on your website platform because it's really great to give people a reason to go to your website, right? And then once they're on your website, they're able to connect all of your stuff, right? Your products, if you're selling products, or just more about you, your email opt-in, all of that stuff. So it adds value to your lead generation, right? Gives people a reason to go. And so I would recommend, if you're into that, I know we have a writer or two in the room. So if you're into that, like, I highly recommend it. It's not necessary. Just, again, I'm giving you guys all of the tools and you can pick and choose what you think would work for your business, right? Okay. Does anybody have website questions?
Not a question, but like for anyone who's like, I should have looked at Squarespace and Wix and compared them because when I just built my website on Wix and I thought it was just going to be like this base price of so much a month, and then I got it, but then I had to pay for a domain afterwards. I had to pay for like a bunch of other things to publish it, and it ended up like something I thought that was going to cost like $10 a month ended up being $200 per year.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah,
just to keep in mind, try to find like the little hidden charges that like, you might not see on the first page, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So none of these platforms are free, unfortunately. So Squarespace and Wix, I do believe, are around $200 to $300 for the year. I don't know the cost of Shopify and I don't know the cost of WordPress, but I know they're not free. And you do have to buy a domain on top of it. So again, if you're not ready to invest in a website fully and you're not doing e-commerce or anything like that, your other option is a landing page. So you can create a landing page through MailChimp or Constant Contact or another email marketing platform. So that is another option for you if you're not ready to invest the money in a website platform. Okay, cool. So let's do design tools quickly. I highly recommend that you create some type of brand kit. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect, but at least choosing a couple of colors, choosing a couple of fonts that you're going to stay specific with throughout your marketing process, so that everything looks cohesive and professional, right? I see a lot of times people will like, and it's okay to change your mind, but I see a lot of times people will post like, graphics with this font and this color, graphics with that font and that color, if you are into posting graphics. And it can get really muddled and messy, no matter what platform you're on. So just keep that in mind when you're designing and creating content. Just commit to something. Just commit to something. And if you change your mind down the road, then that's okay. But do your best to commit to something. So one fun thing to do when you're playing around with design is like find your colors and note the color code somewhere. So the color code, if you're unfamiliar with that, is a code, like every color has a code. And if you have that color code, you're able to recreate that code in any design platform. Same thing with fonts, and I'm going to give us some tools to do this stuff, but fonts, there's a lot of options for where you can find fonts, but just make sure you commit to something. And then one fun thing to throw in your brand kit is doing a little inspiration board. I mean, we're all artists here, so we like to create. This is the fun stuff. Take some time, do a little inspiration board to see, like to kind of get a feel for your overall brand. Like, what do you want it to look like? What do you want it to be? What do you want people to feel when they hit your social media page? What do you want people to feel when they open up your email? And you can come up with some like textural stuff. You can come up with like graphics, line art, whatever you feel represents your brand. And a place you can do all of this is in Canva. So I want to show you guys Canva briefly. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it, but I absolutely love this platform. There is a free version that you can use, which is really great. And it's useful because there's a lot of pre-made templates. So if you choose those colors and if you choose those fonts, you can just pick a template and throw those colors and fonts into it, which is cool. Or you can do something from scratch. So I want to take you guys there briefly. Can you see my Canvas screen?
Not
No.
yet.
Hold on. I think I need to do this. Share my Canvas screen. Okay. So I do recommend you come in and explore here on your own, but let's say we're trying to design something for Instagram. There are specific dimensions for each platform that you need to use for your graphics and your photos as well. Instagram is a square, Facebook is more like a rectangle. You don't need to remember all of the dimensions if you're using Canva, because you can just search Instagram post. Okay. And I click on that, it's going to pull up a ton of templates for Instagram posts that you can play around with. So there are lots of options here. And it's quite fun to play around with. And you do the same thing, like there's Twitter ones, right? Twitter. And another thing to keep in mind too is when you're designing emails and doing that kind of thing, you can come and grab the dimensions in here as well. So you can say like email banner or whatever. So you have your template. Let's say we're picking like this. So you click on it, it's going to take you to the design screen. And you can start playing around with it from here. So let's say I want to change this background color. I'm going to click this color button up here. And I open it up to change the color. These are the color codes I was talking about, right? So you can copy paste this stuff just as long as it's in a document somewhere for you to remember. It'll be really useful. And you can change the color to whatever you want, right? So there are lots of options. And I just want to show you quickly too on the side. So if you want to do text, you're going to click on text, and there's tons of fonts in here for you to choose from. You can change colors, you can do lots of effects, which is cool. Elements, so you can add, this is where you would find like line art or textural elements. Like let's just search line art. There's like lots of beautiful, beautiful little graphics in here that you can play around with. And then photos, tons of stock photos. So you're able to use all of these on your graphics. They're all stock photos. So if you want to be posting photos, you go for it. And you can put these in other templates too, right? So whatever template you choose, you can play around with this stuff, but like have fun with this, right? You're all artists. So I'm sure you'll have a little fun with this. But there's a lot of options. Like there's cool stuff too. Like you literally click animate and you can animate it and it'll post it animated. There's a lot you can do here. Another part of Canva that I use all the time, because I often will post to Instagram and Facebook, is resize. So let's say you have a template that you really love, you have a graphic you created for Instagram that you really love, but you want to resize it for your email header or banner, or you want to resize it for Facebook cover photo, whatever it is. You can just click whichever one you want, or type in whichever one you want, and you copy and resize, and it's going to open up and it'll have resized it for you, and you can start moving stuff around. So these are all individual blocks. Another thing I want to teach you that I didn't learn till later on that you may be aware of that has saved me a lot of time is that you can move things all together by holding down your mouse and moving and highlighting everything together. Okay, so that creates a group for you. I'm just going to save you time figuring that out, because yeah, I lost a lot of time like getting really finicky with this stuff. So yeah, those are my Canva tricks. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on here I should show you. Does anybody have Canva questions? I am like Canva queen, so.
I I have a question. Say you wanted to like build like a big poster and like have it printed. You can you like you were showing, can you decide the, I guess, the
Yeah.
template so it's not grainy or anything there? Okay.
No, it's not grainy. I have had like Canva is kind of tricky because sometimes the stuff comes out grainy and sometimes it doesn't. So you do have to be careful about your sizing and what kind of graphics you're using. So
Okay.
you might have to play around with it a little bit, but what's cool is you can customize the sizing too. So if you have your poster size, you can customize it in pixels, inches, millimeters, centimeters.
Oh wow. Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, like you can use, there are other design softwares out there, right? Obviously there's like Photoshop and that kind of stuff. But, and if you're familiar with it and you know how to use it, all the more power to you. Canva is just very, very user-friendly compared to
Awesome.
other design platforms out there. And it's free. So I would highly recommend. But let's say you want to print a poster. So let's say we're resizing this like to a poster size. You can do that, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
really cool. Hold on. Oh, that didn't work. But typically you can do that. And then you can download it in any file format you want, right? So sorry, I animated this one, so now it wants to download as a video, but if I don't animate it, I can download it as a PNG, a JPEG, a PDF print, a GIF. Like there's tons of options. Yeah, so PDF print too. And the beauty of it too, if you're sending a poster to get printed, typically they ask you for to have a cropped bleed on the sides, which is just like extra paper for them to be able to print on the sides. And you have the option to do this. So you can put crop marks and bleed. If I take that off, when I download it, the crop marks will be on it. So if you're sending that to a print shop, they typically ask for that. You can do that on Canva, which is cool.
Great.
Yeah, and then more templates here. So play around with it. You guys have fun. It's a really fun platform. And I absolutely love it. So, okay. Oh, there's a couple of other things I want to show you on here first too, that were in my presentation. So another tool that I really love to use when it comes to figuring out your colors and your fonts and all of that beautiful stuff is, I love the Chrome extension that is the eyedropper, which is up here. And any web page I'm on, I click pick color from web page, I hover my mouse over it and click it, and it gives me the color code. So if ever you're somewhere online and you need to figure out the color code of something, this is a fun little tool to use. And trying to think what else. Yeah, and then there's another website that I like to use for fonts, which is What the Font. So What the Font is cool because if you have a graphic or an image or something, you can upload it and What the Font will tell you literally what the font is. So you literally just like click on here and upload an image and it'll highlight it and it'll give you a bunch of font options that are similar to that one. So if you're looking to match fonts, that's a fun one to use. Okay, and we can go back to my PowerPoint presentation now.
I have spent way too much time trying to figure out what font I used before. Oh,
Yeah.
That is an awesome tool.
Yes, it is like, it's a lifesaver. It's great. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about tools that I love are also Google Fonts. So Google Fonts has a bunch of free fonts that you can download onto your computer if you're not happy with the ones on Canva or the ones that you have access to even just in Word or whatever it is. You can go to Google Fonts and you can download fonts to use in the majority of platforms. Oh, I had a little tip about color psychology. So when you're trying to figure out your colors too, it's fun. Like it's fun to kind of brainstorm it, right? If nothing's coming to you right away, you can look into color psychology. So do some Googling and look into that because different colors mean different things, as I'm sure most of you are aware of anyways. And another thing I love to do when I'm trying to figure out a color palette, if I really can't decide or I have one color that I really like, but I don't know what would go with it, I will Google the color code of the color I really like, and I'll Google palette next to it. So I'll just Google that color and palette. And I'll have a ton of examples of different colors that I can use to go along with that. Again, the artists in the room, the visual artists might not need help with that, but it's a fun option to research this stuff. Yeah, and I would recommend too in Canva, create a couple of go-to templates that are branded to your brand with your colors and your fonts so that you can save time and energy and have a consistent visual brand without having to like recreate templates all the time. So I'll use a super generic example, but let's say you're posting a quote like once a week or every other week, have a quote template that you use that is branded to your business that you like to use over and over again. That'll save you a lot of time. Okay. We have like 2 minutes. I'll just talk about content marketing briefly. Content marketing is what we do on social media, right? I mean, this is a little bit of strategy that I'm sneaking in here because I can't help it, but content marketing helps us add value. It helps you tell your brand story. It has an emotional appeal, so it brings in that human element. And it's all about being timely and relevant. And everything we do on social media is content marketing, right? It's about creating value. Typically your content should have 3 purposes. So it should either inspire, it should either educate, or it should entertain. And it can do 2 of those 3. So it can inspire and educate, it can entertain and inspire. But your content should always have a purpose. So think about that when you are figuring out what you want to post next or what you want to put up. And then, you know, I've got a little bit on finding your purpose here. So when you're creating your content, before you even start writing or creating video or doing graphics, whatever it is, you need to figure out what makes your content unique to you. And some ways to do that are coming up with your brand pillars and your brand elements. And again, I don't know if you went over this, but I'll go through it quickly. But I love when people choose 6 brand pillars, and your brand pillars are basically the overarching themes of your business and what you stand for. So, you know, this is like wellness, education, positivity, expertise, community, approachable. Like when I go to your social media page or your website, what do I feel about you? Like what impression am I getting? Those are your brand pillars. Brand elements are more specific aspects of your brand's personality, and they are unique to you and your business. So basically they're like, you know, if like they're your tips and tricks, or they're your little glimpses into your life, day-to-day lifestyle. Like if you are a coffee person, you have your coffee every morning, just throw that up in your story and people will always know, like, you know, Evelyn is having her morning coffee again, like exactly. So that brings in just a little human element. Yes, it's about your business, it's about your art at the end of the day, but having people get to know a little bit about you. And your brand elements will include your artwork. So, you know, showcasing your artwork, but also then showcasing you. So I typically say like pick 6 things that are your go-tos that you like to post about. Okay. The next thing I do recommend is create a bit of a campaign schedule. So what do you want to post about? Again, I recommend you post like 2 to 3 times a week minimum, just for that consistency's sake. And it can be about anything you want it to be. It can be product related. Maybe you're doing a new painting that week, or maybe you just wanted to post a little inspirational quote, whatever it is. The biggest thing is like how often you post is up to you. So there's no best time or best day. I know a lot of people seek this out, but there isn't. The main thing that I want you to take away from this is that I want you to post when you are inspired to, while also, you know, having that goal of posting like 2 to 3 times a week at least. So the best time and the best day, number one, depends totally on your unique audience. You're going to have a different audience than the next person. And I don't want you to create too rigid of a routine for yourself that you don't end up being consistent with it, right? If you're someone that's like, hey, I want to post every Tuesday at 9 a.m., then go for it. 100% have a routine if you need that structure. But if you're someone who wants to go with the flow, there's also nothing wrong with that. Just post when you're inspired to, because you're more likely to keep it consistent. I've seen this many times with clients. So that's why I talk about this a lot. And some examples of campaigns can be like, you know, you can do tips and tricks. That's more educational. You can do inspirational quotes. You can post your artwork. You can do little get to know me posts. You can do lifestyle posts, talk about things that are going on in your life. You can feature someone who bought your artwork, or someone that you're teaching to dance, or someone that you're choreographing. I feel like I'm saying that wrong, but anyways. And you can post, like, if you're an outdoorsy person, post your like weekly hike. You know, what has been your artist journey? You can post about the artist journey in general and what it's like to be an artist and different topics around that. So there's so much stuff you can do. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is step 3, which is doing your little brainstorm. So doing a brain dump is a great way of getting all of your ideas onto paper within like 5 minutes. This is just one strategy that I'm going to throw your way that you can use. And basically it's like putting a timer on for 5 to 10 minutes, sitting down and be like, okay, I'm going to write out as many topic ideas as I can in these 5 to 10 minutes before my alarm goes off. And even if you feel they are not good ideas, just write them down. Just write all of those topics out, because you can revisit them after. Try to come up with as many ideas as you can, and then refer back to this list when you sit down to plan out all of your content. And I do recommend you make a calendar of, you know, what are your post topics for the month or for that week, and then also have your content created. So you can batch your content is what we call it. So coming up with it all at once. So you can batch on like a weekly basis where you sit down, you plan out your posts for the week. You can batch on a monthly basis, sit down, plan out your posts for the month, whatever works in your schedule and works for you. It does help a lot to batch content. While also you can leave space to be inspired and once in a while and post when you feel like it. But consistency is also one of the keys to growing that page. So as long as you're consistent with it. Okie dokie. Yeah, and that's what I just talked about. So writing out your content somewhere, whether it's in, like, I do a Google Sheet, if you want to do like a document, if you want to just type it out in your notes app on your phone, or if you want to write it out, that's great too. I just really like to have it somewhere I can copy paste it into my social media platform directly so that it's quick for me to post. Yeah, so that's what's up. And then repurposing. So you can create content that you use on multiple platforms. So you create a post to Instagram, you can also post that same thing to Facebook. You can also post that, you know, shorten it and post it to Twitter. The video you create for YouTube, you can post to IGTV on Instagram. You can shorten it into clips and post it to TikTok. Make your life easier and repurpose, because that means you have to come up with less content, because content creation is a process that you have to go through over and over again, right? It's a creation process. You're just like creating all the time. So repurposing is going to save you some time. So get creative with how you're going to, you know, like, where are you going to post that video? How many platforms can you put that on, right? Spread it out as far as you can. Yeah, another idea for this, like, for example, if you write a blog post, split that blog post up into multiple individual Instagram posts. So that's another idea, right? So there are different ways that you can play around with repurposing. Yeah, and I've just got a couple of brain block hacks. If, you know, you might not struggle with the creative juices flowing because I'm talking to a room full of artists, but some people do. So, you know, if you're ever having like a bit of a brain block when it comes to content creation, you're just like, I do not know what to post about anymore. Refer back to that brain dump that you created, because you'll be able to have that with you. You can always rewrite an old post. You can, you know, step out of the room, go for a walk, whatever it is. Put yourself in your target market's shoes. Like, what are they thinking about? What do they want to hear about? And you can find inspiration on your feed. So start scrolling and see what other people are posting about. Okay, we did it. I have 3 minutes to spare. Oh my God.
Yes, that was a marathon for sure, for sure.
Yes. At the end there, I was like, okay, I'm going to power through this content creation section.
So you still have a few more minutes for questions, everyone.
Yes.
So feel free to take advantage of Nick while we have her.
How do you charge? You charge by if you want someone to consult with you, you charge by the hour, by the day, or by the session, or how do you do that?
Well, it depends what kind of package. So I do hourly sessions, like hourly coaching sessions. but we can, we can book for 4 weeks, we can book for 3 months, or we can book just one-off individual session.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, instead of doing this myself, because I'm a little bit out of that age group, I would prefer to actually hire a person like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so how does a person go about doing that?
Well, I mean, if you're interested in talking to me further about that, we can, you can email me. So I think Linda's going to send out my email to everybody. So if you want to get in contact, if anyone's interested in, learning more, like you can just send me your questions via email. I'm happy to answer any questions. But if you want to book a session with me, you can also shoot me an email, or we can hop on a call, Maurice, and we can talk about social media management.
That's really cool. Okay.
Awesome.
You did an amazing job, by the way.
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Okay. I just was like, is there a delay? I don't know.
No, I hear you.
I was just curious, like, how many hours per week do you think is reasonable to spend on if you're gonna, aggressively start doing this marketing stuff you're showing?
Okay.
What is like a good amount of time to put into this?
So it depends, right? Are you doing like a weekly live and 3 posts a week and stories every other day? Is that the plan? Like what's...
I don't know. It's just like there's so many different platforms and so many different tools. So from somebody who has dabbled in things and has not done some of the other things, I'm just wondering, like, if I'm starting from scratch again, let's say, what's reasonable, or what can I expect to do? Because it seems like the kind of thing that I could be hiring somebody to do as a full-time job is what it seems.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, it wouldn't be necessarily a full-time job, but that again, that depends on like how many platforms do you want to be present on, like how many features of those platforms do you want to be using. If you are doing it individually, just working in your business and it's just you, and let's say you're doing, let's say you're sending out like a weekly email, let's say you're doing a live every week and you're posting that live then to IGTV, because repurposing and saving your time. And you're doing like 2 to 3 posts. So sitting down to batch that content could take anywhere from like, 2 to 3 hours a week. It depends. Like it's going to take a lot of time in the beginning because you're getting used to it. Right. And then the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. One way I really like to batch content is I'll write out my posts, and I do this for my clients as well. Write out the posts ahead of time. And then to plan out like stories and lives and things like that, I'll have a calendar, like I have a content calendar where I'll input just topics. So I'll say, okay, on Tuesdays, I'm going to go on my story and talk about this. And then I'm also going to do this post that I already wrote. Because the stories, you're not going to write out a script, right? Same with the IGTVs and videos and stuff. You're not going to write out a script. You might like sit down and do an outline if it's a longer thing. But you can just do a calendar. When you're sitting down to batch your content for the week, let's say you can do a calendar for the week where you say, I'm going to do these topics in my stories this week, and I'm going to pre-batch these posts. So you sit down and write them with the graphics, with the photos, whatever it is. And that could take you anywhere from 2, 3 or 4 hours.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Depends.
Like,
yeah, no worries.
For a newbie in that,
Yeah, totally. The tricks really is like repurpose. I put my posts in my weekly emails, like, and sometimes I'll post them as my blog posts, like just repurpose.
Sounds good.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Nick. I think you've given everybody lots to think about, and for sure, everybody, I think some of the things that we've learned earlier, you can take what that goals and other things and put this all together. But thanks very much. Great session.
Yay. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I super appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Thank you very much.
Oh, before you guys leave, I will send you an email, but we've had a change of things. So for the next 2 weeks, you're going to get me with all the financial stuff. Not nearly as much fun as Nick, but I will do my very best to make it a good time. And we'll have the HR person on the 3rd week after that. Just so you know, if you were looking at the schedule, it had to change just because of somebody else's timing.
And is it going to be Dennis Landry?
No, it's not.
No?
It's going to be Ann Cooper. no, Dennis was really busy and so he could not do it.
Okay,
So anyways, nevertheless, she's very good. We will be fine. So everybody have a great week.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, everybody.
bye-bye.
Everybody.
Bye.
Yeah, Emily,
Linda,
Emily.
Yeah,
don't
Say more.
forget to send her email.
no, I'll send her email and I'm
Hey, Jasmine.
still trying to search down Ursula's.
Okay, bye-bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Okay,
Nice seeing you again.
yeah,
night.
bye-bye.
Do you record these sessions, Linda?
I am recording the sessions, yes, and I heard that people would like to get them, so I will be sending them out to everybody in the next few weeks, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
See you guys. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, Melanie. Good luck in your writing, your poem, your daughter doing your artwork.